This is the If More Let's Divide podcast.
Yo, guys, Charlie, what happened? Welcome to the F More Let's Divide podcast. It's me, Mutombo, on the ones and twos, and as usual, with my co-host.
You already know it.
No, it's me, Mutombo, on the ones, and it's you, Fred, on the twos.
B. On the twos, B.
Charlie, what they go on?
I got a little tutu. I call it Peggy Sue.
Yeah. Charlie, you for go back to your rap days,
Charlie.
You know, yeah. For those who don't know, Fred was in a rap group with Mensa, our very own Mensa, back in the day, Charlie. Yeah.
Natural born killers.
Natural born killers. Charlie, what's up? What's
Charlie,
up?
bro, what up?
This week's episode is kind of Americanized.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, because
make I reach into the vault then get my slangs ready.
yeah. Because even though he is Ghanaian, he has been living for an extensive period in the United States of America, and he is in Ghana to visit, like he always does. We are going to find out if he has plans of moving back home
Yeah.
with his family, or he's going to be locked up in America and never ever give Ghana a chance. I mean, right now, I don't advise people to move here because
I mean, for people like him with the family, Charlie, it's a big move.
It's a
big move,
It's
so.
a big move. So ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Wale, aka MightyBeardo, a photographer, now an executive chef based in New York, United States of America.
Yes, sir.
Charlie, Wale, what did happen?
Oh, Charlie, I did. I mean, you already know. We're here in the system with you guys. You know, I'm trying to figure it out one day at a time, just like you guys, Charlie.
Even you are figuring it out whilst you are on a holiday in Ghana.
Charlie, I mean, the way it is, nothing is set, you know.
So you have to figure.
Some things it's not set for you. You have to come and you have to figure it out, maneuver and make it work for you, you know.
But do you miss Ghana when you are in the States?
Always, you know. I always miss Ghana because for me, Ghana's home.
Okay.
Even though, I've been away, I moved away in 1998. How many years? 25 years now, you know. But Ghana is still home for me. Like Ghana is where, when I come, when the plane doors open, it's like every bit of stress, it's like gone. You know, like you don't think about. I don't want to say responsibilities, but you don't think about certain responsibilities, you know, because it's like off your back, you know, when you once you get in.
So if the plane doors open and you inhale the Ghanaian air
Yeah,
The
and
heat
you
wave.
enjoy it,
always.
why don't you move back here and inhale that, air more, that oxygen?
All right, one big reason for that is it's a big move. Right now, if I want to move here, it's a big move.
Yeah.
I'm not alone, you know. I'm a family man. I have a wife and 3 kids.
Oh, wow.
You know, 3 boys. It's
Yeah.
it's like and they're not Ghanaian at all. You know, they're American. So to move them from one country to a whole other country where they don't have like friends, family, it's a very big move, you know. So to do that would be like it's a big move. Secondly, I don't feel like the amenities, certain simple amenities or necessities that we're used to in America. Say as, for example, let's say if somebody's sick at home and we can't drive or whatever and we call an ambulance, it'll be there in minutes, you know. I'm not sure how long it will take for an ambulance to come.
We don't even know their numbers of head.
You understand? Like
There's a service. Actually, it's not expensive. It's called it's in cantonments. It
But
starts
it's
with
a
a
service
W.
that you have to pay for.
Yeah, but actually, comparatively, it's inexpensive. So you pay like $1,800 a year,
okay.
and they will airlift you from anywhere.
Hey, Charlie,
Anywhere in the world.
$1,800 a year.
Yeah.
So if I don't get sick within that year, the money is gone.
Like any other insurance.
Wow.
I understand that part, but like it's not so common.
Yeah.
Like I've heard stories of like people I have friends and family who have like simply passed away because of something like there's no oxygen at the hospital.
Yeah.
Simple things like that. And
There's certainly a health risk.
Yeah, and so for those simple things, I don't think I'm ready to put my family through that. Even though we are pretty much healthy and we don't really have health issues, but I would rather wait till they're much older, and then if they want to make the
Safe
choice to come here,
It's a good perspective. The reason I was even sharing that information with you, I think of the name. It starts with a W, Waju or something, I forget. But is that a lot of times the picture that we paint for our brothers and sisters back who are living in the diaspora also can be a bit grave, in the sense that, and I don't want to sound like a snob, but there's, just like any society, there's middle class, there's down,
Yeah.
and for the kind of money that we are fortunate to make, if you plan your life well, you can still enjoy those safety nets that, America provides you.
definitely.
Yeah, but let me ask you this. Is your wife Ghanaian?
No, she's not.
Oh, okay.
She's American and South American.
Oh, wow. That's a dope combo.
Yeah,
that would be
Ghanaians
more of a cultural...
that's what I'm
challenge.
saying. So, like, to say I'm moving here, I've had opportunities where it seemed like I could move here. Like, my wife, she's always been down to move here. She's not like, oh, it's Africa. She's not like that at all.
Okay.
From when we were dating, we met, and I was like, she's like, yo, if you want to move to Africa today, we're going. She's like that. But like I know my family. I know what they're used to.
Right.
And if I move them, I have to give them the same exact kind of life that they, and it'll be, whereas it will be cheaper here, but there'll be some things that will not be available, or for them to have the same things that are available, it will cost a bit more. You understand? Because it's things that are foreign to here.
Yeah.
So when it's foreign, it costs more. When it's like local, it's much cheaper,
Yeah. Why do you think your wife is ready to move to Ghana?
My wife, she understands. My wife. My wife.
Yeah.
My wife is brilliant. She's smart. She's a lot. She would move to Ghana because for the love she has for me. If she knows that whatever I'm gonna do here, it's the right thing and it will benefit the family, she's down for it. She's always gonna support. She's got me into the mindset of thinking about family, because sometimes it's easy to forget and you make decisions for you, like your career or something like that, but she's guided me into this mindset of how does it affect the family, because for me, where I'm from Bubuashi, you're going to figure it out, put us anywhere, we'll figure it out, and then we'll take over what we need to take care of after, but she's got me to this mindset where I'm thinking about, okay, schools, such and such for the kids or whatever, even though in our current situation, she handles those things because she knows about those things.
Right.
She's in education as well, so she knows those things. So I let her. She's good at it, so why challenge her? I'll suggest whatever I suggest. She will give me the info on it, and we'll decide. Stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not because she believes that she's from the motherland. She wants to follow you because it's
I wouldn't say it's because she's from the mother. And she knows history. She knows. If you see my wife, when I met my wife, I thought she was Ghanaian.
Okay.
I asked her, like, are you sure you're not Ghanaian? She's like, no, I'm not Ghanaian. I'm Guyanese. She's Guyanese and American. And when I saw her mother could pass for one of my mom's little sisters.
Okay.
It was insane, you know, because I'm looking at her like,
Yeah,
and
wow.
I had lost my mom then too, so like 2 years prior. So I'm looking at her and I'm like, man, you know, and she treats me like a son. So, you know, but like I'm looking at her and I'm like, that's my mom's little sister, maybe in another life or an extended ancestor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not because of, you know, that whole let's move back to Africa thing. For nah, she's not.
Year of return.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, clap for that one. She's not one of those
Some
people.
people moved and made their way back home.
Yeah. So Fred, you also moved to Ghana in 2017
Yeah.
or 2016, 2017,
2017, yeah. So I actually moved to America the same year that he did.
98.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
The '98 squad, we're deep.
Yeah. Like,
So you didn't finish secondary school?
no, sorry, 99. I left in
yeah.
99, yeah.
Yeah.
My bad.
But did you finish school in Ghana? Did you complete secondary school in Ghana before
No,
you
no,
left?
I finished JSS St. Teresa. So I finished my BEC Friday. We did our graduation at St. Teresa's Church on Sunday. I went to my school party on Tuesday. Wednesday, I went to America. I was there for like 2 weeks. I started school. My mom had already gone to find me a school and everything because she was going back and forth all the time, you know, doing business. So my mom always said, it was always in our plans that once we've always finished junior secondary school, you're going to finish high school. My older sister was the same format. Me and my younger sister the same. So that was her format for us. So I didn't even get to enjoy and do any of those hardcore hard boys thing. You know, you finish JSS, you thinking. I didn't get to do none of that stuff. Like right 3 days after, you know, I was out and we finished in August. September 9th, we started school. So I literally had 2 weeks or so to play around. And then I started high school.
Yeah,
And
back
then,
in high school.
Prior to 98, were you going back and forth or
Yeah.
that was your first time?
no. We've been going back and forth since like 1987. Yeah, we've been going different places, you know, because my dad was with the airline, Ghana Airways, you know,
Okay.
so you have benefits, tickets and stuff. Like my mom was a trader, so she would go to London, China, wherever. You know, she was going to China before it was even a thing, you know,
Yeah.
like, so she would sometimes, you know, the more travelers you have, the more free bags you have. So my younger sister and I would go, and that's 4 free bags
Right.
of goods she's going to
Yeah,
import. You
yeah.
know, back then they were not doing this cargo, wherever you can bring it on the plane cargo.
Yeah.
So me and my sister and I, that's 4 bags of whatever she's bringing. That's millions of CDs, you know, plus her 2 bags, and then that's 6, and then she pay for another 6. You know, she won. You feel me? So that was kind of like the thing for us. So like we would even go to London on a Friday, come back on Monday night. And I'll miss school. This funny thing, I'll miss school, St. Teresa's, and my teacher would say, you didn't do your homework. And I'll say, yeah, but I went to London. And he would just beat me
Ball
because
like
the
ball.
That's like an innocent but like fucked up thing to say to a teacher. Like,
I know, like, you know, like he beat me, like he didn't believe me. You know, he thought I was making it up, and I was like, but I really went to London. He's like, whatever. So what I would do is like I would start bringing stuff for him. You know, like maybe a T-shirt. If I went to America, I'd bring like I love New York T-shirt, or you know, there's this one teacher, he liked soap. I don't know why. You know, like so for his wife. So I'll bring like two bars of soap, and I'll bring him like a T-shirt or something. You know, and then he stopped caning me.
wow.
But yeah, it was all throughout St. Teresa's. I was just getting beat left and right because I was going to London. Maybe I wasn't coming to school on Monday because the flights will come back typically Monday night. So I'll miss Monday, and I'll show up to school on Tuesday. But I wouldn't do my homework because right after school on Friday, we come
Gotta
home,
go, pack up.
we get dressed. You bring your book bag with some things for the weekend, and you're going to the airport.
Oh, wow, so you're going for weekends?
Yeah, I was going for weekends, man. Like I have some friends who still make fun of me for that. Like, nobody knows the feeling of going to London for the weekend, but this guy, you know. So
that's dope.
Yeah.
So your father worked with Ghana Airways, and what was your mom doing?
My mom, she was a trader, so she would import and export. She had stores at Makola, so she would sell like
The Mokola women,
Charlie.
they have money.
those women.
Oh,
Charlie.
jeez,
God,
man.
God bless those women, man, because they work hard, you know. So my mom,
They hold the economy, actually.
they do. Shout out to Auntie Age, Charlie. Rest in peace.
Yeah, maybe she rest in peace.
So them, yeah, she would do imports and exports. She would bring in cosmetics and shoes and stuff like that. She would bring it in and she would export like smoked fish, smoked shrimp, stuff like that. So there was a time where she was like the major supplier for all the African markets in New York, even the wholesalers. It got to a time when she was the one for it. So that's what put us through school. That's what built us the house. That's what put us through college.
For sure.
Like the hustle was real. So we were all part of the hustle. Sometimes, even when I was living in America, I was coming to Ghana for weekends as well. It wasn't just going over there for weekends. When I was living there, I would get like, let's say we have a Memorial Day weekend and Monday's a holiday, and she said, okay, you have to come on Friday. So on Friday after school, I'll go to JFK. I'll fly and I'll land Saturday. Monday night, I'll go.
She needed to come, like maybe bring stuff.
Yeah, like bring stuff for her and take stuff, So I'll come with stuff that she already bought and packed and stuff. And I was like her employee, I was like 16 years old.
I was actually going to say.
Yeah, I was her employee.
Courier service.
Charlie, yeah. So
But I love that though.
Yeah, I mean,
She put you in the business.
She tried to show us the business too. So just in case things didn't work out and you wanted to get into the business, you knew how to do. Like we knew all the people that she bought from, and we knew all the people that she sold to. So like she kind of prepared us for it if we wanted to. Actually, my younger sister and I are kind of considering like starting it back up. Yeah, because my younger sister already does it on Amazon, and we want to do it like on a much bigger scale than we are. So yeah,
No, that's dope.
With the work that your father was doing, I'm sure he wasn't home.
No,
every time.
No, he wasn't. Like he traveled a lot. My mom traveled a lot too.
Yeah.
So we always had, house helps. So they would take care of us sometimes, and we always had like maybe my mom's younger brother staying with us, or my dad's younger brother. There was always another family member there.
Yeah.
So they would take care of us, but sometimes both parents would be gone, and it would be just us and them. And then they were like, okay.
How did that affect their relationship?
With our parents?
Yeah, like between them.
Like their relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, they met each other traveling. My mom met my dad while he was working at Ghana, was at the airport while she was going on the flight. So before they got together, they were already doing what they were doing. So they already had that relationship. They had an understanding. Whatever worked, it worked. They were together till they both passed away.
Oh wow.
So
you lost both parents?
both of them, yeah.
Damn.
My mom first, then my dad. But it worked out for them. As far as us, the kids, like the other day, my sister and I were sitting down. I mean, we talk a lot. We're very close, and we were like, you know what? We're talking about our parents because whatever. And she's like, I feel like we didn't get to spend a lot of time with them because the amount of traveling. I moved to America at 14, 15.
Okay.
Living alone in an apartment, right? My sister joined me 2 years after. So it's like, now we don't live with our parents. We see them when we come or they come. If you count the days, maybe it's 2 days total if they're there for like a week because the hours, And we're like, we didn't get a lot of time with them, so do we really know them? So we try to talk and figure out like what we knew about them, what they might have picked up from us. And that is what pushes me to actually now want to spend so much time with my kids.
Yeah,
because I don't want them to like someday sit down and try to have to analyze the same thing like, Dad, Because there was a time where I used to see my kids 1 hour a day in the morning, get them ready for school. That's when I became a chef. Because I worked in the afternoon and I'll come home at 2. They'll be sleeping. So the pandemic really helped me get to know them,
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So you mentioning chef, brings it's a very very good segue. So you went to culinary school.
Yes, I went to culinary school. I went to the French Culinary Institute in Seoul. But the story about that, it like, you know, I'm a big believer in like you do what you have to do, and if you're on the right path, right, the world will give you what you need when you need it. You know, I'm a big believer in that. So the culinary school thing, yeah. At that time, I was a photographer, like shooting like shows in New York City. Now, it kind of got boring for me in a way because same thing. My wife was about to have my son, our first son, and I was like, I didn't like being. I was actually on set of a video shoot, and she called me that the baby was coming.
Whose video shoot?
It was ASAP Rocky. ASAP Rocky's video shoot. I forget the song. It was a song with Rihanna, but I forget the song.
Okay. I think I know the record you're talking about, but
Yeah,
I don't remember the title.
Fashion Killer. It might be Fashion
Yeah.
Killer. Yeah. So I was on the video set on that, and she called me. So I left and I went to the hospital. It was a false alarm, and from then I was like, I don't want to be away, and these things happen, and I missed them. So I was just thinking about the things that I could do, what else I could do, what else I'm good at, what else I enjoy, and I always enjoy cooking from young, and it kind of started as way to survive because, like I said before, our parents traveled and we had caretakers, and sometimes they would not give. Can I curse? They would not give. They would not give a fuck. It's like, oh, your mom is here and you do this. I'm a kid. I'm gonna do certain things that's gonna piss you off. You understand what I'm saying? And then they would like try to starve us or whatever. So
right, as punishment.
Yeah.
Or maybe you getting out of line or saying something they feel like it's off.
Exactly.
Okay.
So like I asked my mom to teach me how to make oats.
Okay.
That was my favorite thing. Like remember Quaker oats in the tin?
Yeah.
That's the first thing my mom taught me to make. So I make that when they try to play with us. I make that for my little sister and I, and we eat that. So back to the culinary school thing. I wanted to go to school, but I had no way of going to school because you need somebody to sign for you to get a loan, student loan, and all these things. And previously, I was in college studying aeronautics.
Okay.
Right? I never had to get a student loan because my parents paid for me to go. So this I didn't know how to like finesse it, and they told me about a scholarship that I was available. So I applied for it. I told a sad story, and
You told a sad
so
story.
I told a super sad story. I used some of my background, me being from Africa, a bunch of bullshit. I made a whole lot of some were true, but I made some up.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, and like
I should have used it more.
the day of orientation, apparently I got an email, but I missed it. So orientation was 2:00, 1:00. I got a call from this lady at the school, like, "Yo, are you coming to orientation?" I'm like, I did everything as if I was going to school. I did the medicals. I did everything. I was just waiting to see if I got the scholarship or not. And they said, "You got the scholarship," and the tuition was like $33,000.
Wow.
And scholarship covered $27,000. So I just had to pay $6,000 out of pocket. At that time, I had a bunch of camera equipment, so I put them together. And I went to B&H, and I saw what I could sell to
Is that
them.
a pawn shop?
It's a camera.
It's a camera shop, but
they buy used and stuff. So I said, let me see what I can, sell. I sold what I could sell. I had some lights. I sold it to my boy who was the chef, Koid. He actually helped me navigate the culinary school thing. So I sold. He wanted to be a photographer, but I wanted to be a chef.
Wow.
So
You were flipping.
we were flipping. So I sold him what I could sell him, and I paid what I could pay, and then the rest I did an installment, and I paid. And I went to school. I went to culinary school at 29, late compared to others,
Yeah.
But I was much mature, so my focus was on point. I knew what I wanted from it. So
Of course.
I didn't take it for granted, I came out of school. I got a job actually in one of the top restaurants in New York while in school. So once I graduated, I was on point, already ahead. It didn't take me
Hit the
long.
ground running.
Yeah, Charlie. It didn't take me long to like go from line cook to like sous chef, and then from then it's been to 2016. I've been like in sous chef, executive chef position up until now.
So when it comes to chef,
Yeah.
can I say chefing? When it comes to chef, right? What's the highest position? Is it executive chef?
So it actually depends on the type of organization, right? If it's like just a one-off restaurant, then the executive chef is the highest. But if it's like an organization, like let's say, like right now I work for the Tao Group, right?
Oh, Tao.
Tao Group is big.
Big.
They have restaurants all over the world.
Right.
So they have corporate chefs. So executive chef and then it's called corporate chef.
Okay.
So a corporate chef is kind of like, he doesn't cook, but he'll come and like help the executive chef change the menu. Help the executive chef change the menu, adjust things, oversee the executive chefs. So it really depends on the type of organization, Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Dope. Let's hold that chef, story for now and talk about your photography, because I'm thinking photography came before.
Yes,
Chef.
photography came before.
How
chef.
did you enter photography?
So photography, like, was always a hobby. It came with skateboarding.
So do you skateboard?
Yeah, I used to skateboard. So when you skateboard, you want to like take pictures of yourself, film yourself and stuff like that. And a bunch of the friends that I used to skate with, most of them were
I
like,
see the Vans.
yeah, always you gotta always. The friends I skated with, there was always somebody filming, and there was always somebody doing photography.
Okay.
So I got into it. So I bought my first camera actually, and I used to just go around. I used to go to concerts with this friend of mine. She got me into concerts, so we'll go to whatever concerts would come around, mostly hip hop stuff. And I'll bring my camera and I'll take photos. So there was one time where I lost my job, right? And I was like, man, all right, let me give this photography thing a shot. So I was walking around, and it was I walked past this concert center, and it was I saw this guy, and I saw the sign that says tonight, Kenan. I don't know if you know Kenan.
Yeah.
Kenan,
Yeah,
the Somali,
the Somali
based in,
rapper, yeah.
Canada.
Yeah, so I saw him, and I saw his tour bus, and he came out of it, and he walked right into the joint. And another guy came out, and I stopped him, and I said, hey, what's going on here? And he was like, oh, Kenan's performing tonight. And I was like, oh, I'm a photographer, let me come and take some photos of the show and stuff like that. I just want to, because for me, I love music. And every time I hear somebody perform, hear somebody's album, I imagine how the music video would be or what their performance is like. And it's been something that I've been doing since. Now everything's so accessible. But before then, like MTV had this thing, making the video.
Yeah.
You would know. Like, you hear the songs 3 weeks before you see the video.
Exactly.
Or like maybe 3 months, and they will show you bits how they made the video. So I always like imagine how they performed, So I started wanting to capture them in like their best light while they're performing, of what I thought like caught like their best light basically. So I started bringing my camera to the show.
So did you get into the Canaan?
I did get into he gave me a guest pass. That was the first person to give me like a photo pass. So I could be in the photo pit. I had access to Canon and stuff like that. So I did that, and it was like, oh man, this is good. I met other photographers there, and they actually worked for magazines.
Okay.
And they were getting paid for it. So I was talking to them like, how do I get, so you got to link with these blogs and magazines and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, cool. So for me, everything I do, I want to like start from the base and grow it. So I wasn't ready to like just jump out there, say I'm working for a magazine. I wasn't as confident yet, So I started making relationships with people. The more shows I did, the more people I met. So I grew my beard just to stand out. And at that time, people were not growing beards at that time. Like people used to call me terrorist, Bin Laden, just because I was growing a beard.
Wow.
You know, but then also it made my face very recognizable, and that's where the name MightyBeardo came from. You know, so I walked into a venue and I looked different. There was something about me that made them feel like I belonged there. Sometimes I didn't even have a photo pass, and the guys, oh, he's pressed. Meanwhile, too, I'm nothing telling you know, but I'm in there and I'm getting the shots. So I made my own blog to post it, so people will start. I'll get visibility. People will see, you know, what I'm doing, and if they're interested, I can start getting checks.
Do you still have the blog up?
You know, I look it up every now and then. You know, it's some images pop up when I type in MightyBeardo, it'll pop up. I used to have a different blog before then with my boy who's Chinese, Kenny. Like he's a producer and I was a photographer, so he came up with this. We came up with this name, Voodoo and Chopsticks, because he's Chinese and I'm African. So like we came up
actually,
with
that's
that.
a dope name.
Yeah,
Voodoo and
we came up with that. I drew a logo for it because I used to draw also, and we the blog died and I did my own thing, MightyBeardo, from then. So photography gave me relationships, and those same relationships later transformed into when I went to the kitchen, because these same companies and magazines, they have events, they eat food, you know. So if you're a chef, they do catering, you know, stuff like that. So yeah.
Cool. So Canaan was the first concert that you shot.
Yeah, that I actually got an official pass.
Yeah, an official pass.
Shoot, yeah.
What other concerts, you know, like who have you worked with? Like, which shows?
I can say almost anybody that came to New York from like, let's say 2009 to like 2013. Almost everybody and anybody. I have shot concerts with Ice Cube, from Ice Cube to Pro Era, like from the oldest rappers to like some of the newest rappers, you know, in that era, you know, you name it, like Bone Thugs and Harmony, Outkast, like, you know, all of them. I have shots of them from their shows. Yeah.
So you still have all these images in the vault?
I do have all of them in the vault. I have them on. I have like 2 external drives that I have things on, and occasionally I tease Motombo with stuff, you know. Occasionally I tease him with stuff.
But
you know?
is it a time came, or I might be wrong? A time came where you were usually based with a ASAP crew, with a ASAP, you know, mob, ASAP crew, right?
Yeah, ASAP mob. Yeah. There was a time because while I was doing my thing, I linked up with my boy Daryl. He had a production company. And he's an OG. Like, he looks mad young, but like he's an OG and he's been in the game since Fuji's time.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
You know, so he has relationship with labels and stuff like that. He's from Harlem.
Okay.
ASAP's from Harlem. ASAP's label, Polo Grounds, Brian Leach is from Harlem. So it made sense, you know. He seen me around. He liked what I was doing. He liked my photos. He liked that I was always there and I put out photos in the morning. You know, like I'll shoot concert at night, go home at 1, stay up, post the photos in the morning before I get dressed and go to work. Because I had a job too as well, you know, so I'll do that. But, yeah, I linked up with him, and at that time, so he said, okay, I see you at all the ASAP shows and stuff like that, so you can roll with us. We're gonna do all the BTS and stuff for ASAP, and you can just be one of the cameras. So started shooting shows for ASAP. If there's music videos, we did BTS. Photo shoots, I did BTS for it, you know, stuff like that. And so we became like part of ASAP somewhat, you know. And we did a whole lot for ASAP. We had footage to put out an ASAP documentary. Like, yeah,
wow.
It came out, but in the end, I think the company split up. So our footage got paired with Vice, and they put together a documentary called Suddenly. You can find the trailer on YouTube if you look for it.
Okay.
But yeah, that time with ASAP was great. I had to leave though because I had my son, and I wanted more.
Yeah, you said you got a call when you were on set.
Yeah, I had to like actually step away from the camera stuff because I wanted to do something that would basically, because the camera stuff was taking me away. You know, traveling a lot. You know, Texas, here, there, L.A., places like that. And there was my wife. You know, wives, women. You know, they want you at home sometimes. You know, like they want.
How old
you.
were you during this trip? This time?
I had at that time I was 30. I had
Okay.
turned 30. You know, I had my first son at 30. So at
So
that
you're
time,
photographing before 30?
yeah, before
into-
it was before 30
Yeah.
into 30.
Into your
So
30s, yeah.
so you know, I had to consider a bunch of stuff, and I decided to like do something that would like keep me around. But yeah, and it made sense because at that time, it was dying down. Like iPhones were getting better, cameras were getting better, so like nobody was really looking to pay a photographer some money when one person, a journalist, can go film, take photos, and you know write about it. So before it was like, oh, I have a journalist, you go with the journalist, do the camera, and the journalist will write about the show. You know, but then the format.
So now they're using iPhones and stuff to do like concerts and stuff.
No, some blogs do it, but even the blog age died. You know,
Right,
now
yeah,
the
the
blogs
blog
are,
faded.
now we're into podcasts.
Yeah.
You know, but there was a time where the blogs were heavy.
Yeah.
You know, it was heavy with the blogs, and you know, everybody wanted to like, you know.
Yeah. So how did photography help you deal with people?
So,
Because you always have someone in front of you.
yeah,
Yeah.
like me personally, during my photography period, I did not like shooting models. You know, like
light camera action.
you know, I hated
Yeah.
it because first of all, it was like too much work with the edits.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't want to do it. I like capturing people naturally in the natural thing. So I prefer street photography and concerts. Those were kind of easy for me.
Yeah.
You know, you can kind of pick a subject and kind of like, you know, take them from far. Or you can speak to them and just do that also, you know. I like to think of myself a bit of an introvert because I like my alone time. You know, I think there was a time where I think I spent time with myself more than it should normal. But I do enjoy being
Your own
alone.
company.
Yeah, my own company. I do enjoy it. You know, I don't get bored being with myself. So, me usually going to people and you know interacting with them. If I was as social as I am now when I was a photographer, I think I would have been way like
More
on a different level. I wasn't, you know, like I'll go to a show, I'll do what I came to do, and then just be out. I'll get booked for an event, I'll shoot it. I'll not really make any connections because I just didn't want to interact with people, you know. But if I was as social as I made myself social. You know, this is something that I realized back in like JSS that I can turn on being shy and shy. I can turn it on and off, and I think everybody can do that if they want to. You know.
So, I want to kind of get into your time in America when you moved. Is it 14? You moved there.
14.
And then you did stuff. You're in school, but then when you started this photography thing, I'm trying to imagine what was your relationship with the Ghanaian community like.
So when I first moved to the Bronx, I was in the Bronx.
You were in the Bronx?
In the Bronx. I was in like, the building I lived in was owned by a Ghanaian, so it was full of Ghanaians, right? I was
heard
there,
about that.
Yeah, I was there from 1990, in that building, 1998 to 2000, I moved. And I moved to another side of the Bronx, and it was completely American and Spanish people, you know. But so I moved away from the Ghanaians, and I wasn't really interacting with them or whatever.
Did you move on purpose?
Kind of, and not, you know, kind of, because my mom was like, you know, like there was always something, you know, there was
Drama.
Always. I was getting accused of things that I didn't even do. You know, they said some lady. The funny thing, I had these friends that used to come over, right? These American boys that I used to hang out with, and one of them was really fat, and he had this thing where he would call mooning. He would open the window. We lived on the 6th floor. Yeah, my other friend will call out somebody from down. They would look up, and my fat friend's ass would be in the window, you know. So
yeah, that's how you move people. Yeah.
so they would do it. I mean, at my apartment, it was just me and one of my cousins. There was no adult living there.
Yeah.
I was 14, 15. My cousin was 16, 17. He decided not to go to school ever. So all our friends will come and they'll just be hanging. I'll come from school and they'll be there. Me, I knew to go to school because my dad was not playing those games with me, you know. So, like, I was getting accused of things. This lady said I mooned her. And I had to ask her, the ass you saw and the ass you see me now, is it the same? And they said I disrespected her by asking her these questions. So it was a lot of stuff. Because there was no adult, so they used to pin everything on me and my cousin. Like,
Right.
we piss in the elevator. And we never did those things. There were other people in the building that maybe might have done it, but it wasn't us. So I moved away, and I was in with Americans. And so that's when started getting, like, really assimilating to American culture.
Okay.
You know, with my boys and stuff like that, playing baseball, football. Just getting into American culture. Because I feel like if you stay with the Ghanaian community, you don't really...
It limits your horizons.
It does, because a lot of times they put their limitations on you.
Right.
Really,
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's not that it's a bad thing, but it can be too much.
No, I ask because I find your trajectory very, what's the word I'm looking for? More diversified than the typical, like, young Ghanaian who maybe gets thrown into America, but you go into photography at the age that you did.
Yeah.
And then going on to become a chef, rolling with, like, very serious hip hop crews like ASAP, Mob, and, now working at one of the largest, like, restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I want you to maybe speak a little bit more on that in terms of cultural limitation. Because I remember I had an episode in Maryland myself. But Maryland is very limited in terms of Ghanaian community. So I was...
Really?
Yeah. In terms of, you're kind of stuck in the Ghanaian community because there's no other...
Okay.
So everybody tells you kind of like the path to follow, what to do.
Yeah.
You start working these menial jobs. Then you move your way up and fall into whatever category you fit in. But I was working hard, and I said, man, I've busted my tail. I'm doing better. Mm-hmm. I went and bought a car. Like, it's a brand new car. I walk into the showroom, and I bought a brand new car. And I went to the barbershop, because it was a barbershop that all the Kofi barber. Shout out Kofi, by the way. Dope-ass barber. That was his barbershop, Platinum. But there was Americans there as well. Mm-hmm. He wasn't even the one cutting my hair. But a lot of the older Ghanaian people used to come there. And as soon as I pulled up, and I walked into the barbershop, the first thing that was said to me was, hey, now, in tree, small boy na wako toka, unbo bra ye say about America na mudi musika to tokas. Like these
translation.
Yeah, so basically they were saying, you young Ghanaian going to use your money, wasting your money on buying a brand new car. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
So my response, I guess I was a bit of a dick. But I was like, when I went into the showroom, they didn't have adults only written on the car, so I just bought it. But that's the kind of energy I was getting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when I moved to America in 99, you were still able to walk into the Social Security office, get your paper. It's something that people don't like to talk about because I don't know if for some people it's embarrassing or they don't want to shed light on it. But moving to America, you have to be documented. You have to be legal. Yeah. So to go and get your Social Security number and all those things, you could just walk into the place, Tombo, and ask for it. But they hid it. They made it seem like you had to juggle and jump through hoops and do all these things.
Exactly.
So when they banned it, it's when I found out that, I could have easily done it this way. And it really held us back. But in hindsight, when I look at it, I saw some of the older people, because they could give you their Social Security to work with, they could file taxes and do all kinds of things, but it also keeps you humble.
Yeah.
So you always have to like go in and check in and pay them respects. They use it to hold our own people down.
And that's bad.
What, did you experience that in New York? Because I never lived in New York. I lived in Jersey.
I mean, like the building I lived in had Ghanaians, right? So it was like, Kofi Menyese. Me, I feel like I've always been an artist, like from young. I used to sketch my mom when she'd be cooking. And it's not like some bullshit.
Oh wow.
You know,
Do you still draw?
like not as often as I would like, but you know, it was natural. You know, I would sketch. I would just sketch people. Like I remember when I was in kindergarten at St. Anthony's, the teacher would be teaching, and that time we used to use slate
Yeah.
and chalk. That's how old I am, Charlie.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'll be drawing a car,
Okay.
and one day my teacher was walking by the window, and she saw that I was drawing a car instead of paying attention to what the other teacher was. She came in and she just beat me.
Wow.
But because she was my mom's friend, so she felt she could do. I when I told my mom came the next day and shake her. Then from then she didn't talk to me about anything again. But for me, I feel like I've always been an artist, so I never listened to what they told me. I always and because for most of those people, their first time going on a plane was when they were moving to America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas me, and they might have thought I was a bit arrogant or
arrogant,
whatever,
yeah, and I know
but
what you
like
mean.
I had travel experiences. You know, I understood people. Like so, they told me, "Oh, America forward, just say if you do this," but I never took it because I'm like, "Yo, people are different." You feel
Yeah.
me? So it's like I'm not gonna be limiting myself because you are limiting yourself.
Yourself.
Yeah.
And for a lot of for that reason, a lot of them did not like. I don't feel like they liked me. They judged me a lot because at that time I had braids. I wasn't
You tied it up. I had
yeah.
braids at some point.
Yeah, I wasn't like the regular Ghana boy in the Bronx in 1998. You know, I had braids. I didn't live with my parents. I had no adults in my house, so I was like an anomaly. Like you know, like oh, this guy is strange. There's no parents, or he's doing the worst. But meanwhile, I'm student of the month at school. I do my regents, and I had the highest grade in math in my school ever. Like and I'm like, but this thing, this math way,
Yeah.
we've been doing here.
Yeah.
I didn't. They made this a big deal that, you know. So, but they had a different perception of me because of how I looked and presented myself. But I've always been. I never let them, you know, step on my shine.
Do
But
you think that has helped you because you separated yourself in establishing
Yes.
the kind of life that you
Yes,
live?
because the people that I left back there, they still stuck in that cycle. You know, they still stuck in that cycle where everything they do has to be Ghanaian.
Right.
You know, whereas even when I see them, they're like, "Oh, you don't look for us. You left us to go be." But I'm like, what was here? There's nothing
Yeah.
here. You know, like there's more to just the blocks. You know, we from my block was gangbangers, man. Like you know, gangbangers, like violent, typical. Like what you hear about the Bronx
Yeah.
is where I lived. Like if you whatever you've heard about the Bronx, I lived there. You know what I'm saying? If you heard about drive-bys, I lived on that block where all those things happen. So I've seen it all.
Wow.
You know, so there's no need for me to actually stay there. You know, and like there's more to
Life.
life. Like I was skateboarding in the Bronx, whereas they're like, "Why do you want to be a white boy?" But it's not being a white boy. My neighbor in Boboy, she had a skateboard
Yeah.
when we were kids, and that was the first time I got on a skateboard, and I wanted to ride it some more. What's wrong with that? You know?
Yeah. It expands your horizons, doesn't limit you. Tomo, I wanted to ask him about this. So I was going in this direction where I found out that like the Asian, community and some of the I think is it West Indian? I don't want to lie, but they have formed like a community, and they are recognized by Congress. So they get like assistance. So when one person moves from China to like America, they go into a community where you're naturally propped up. They put you in positions to empower you economically. If you want to open a shop, they will support you financially.
Yeah.
And with your papers, they help you navigate the legal way so you can become a permanent resident.
Yeah.
Why do you think we haven't done that for ourselves?
Because Ghanaians in America, I feel like,
Or Africans in general?
I feel like the African mentality, and I hate saying that, right?
Yeah. I know what you mean,
Yeah,
but
I
we got to
hate
talk
saying,
about
but
it. some
we
way.
got to
So-
talk about it, right? It's like and I always think deeper than the surface, right? And I would bring it back to, let's say, slavery or colonization, right? There was always room for just one Negro in the house, right? So only one black person can be in the master's house. Only one Ghanaian could be with the colonial, government or whatever. There was always room for one, and so now I think the African is conditioned to think that there's only room for one, whereas there's room for all of us.
Yeah.
Because we all bring different flavors to the pot.
And it gives us leverage.
It gives us leverage, but I think we're starting to realize that now. But in those times, like you were in Maryland when I was in New York, it was always there's always room for one.
Yeah.
So I want to be the only one, and if you're the only one doing this, I'm the boss. But the boss of what?
Boss of delivery.
Yeah.
No, because delivery was at some point a big deal to them. They didn't want to show you the way. They literally did not want to show you the way.
But even it's not even just Ghanaians domiciled in the States or wherever. It's not just about Ghanaians in the States. It's also about Ghanaians in Ghana. There is room for one. He said, because it's kind of hard to find someone to hold your hand, to give you the ropes. I did it this way, so you have to do it this way. Artists don't even come together. Artists don't even come to get together to create. They don't collaborate. It's kind of hard to find people who are looking out for you.
But why is that?
I have
Such
no
a
idea.
sad.
It's really sad.
It's I don't know where that stems from, but like he said, there's a little bit of colonialism, colo mentality in there somewhere. But Ghana had her in the independence over 60 years ago. But talk about it, right? Over 60 years ago, the people in charge now, how old are they? Most of them are 80. So they were 20 when we were in the independence. They've been brainwashed, and that's what they know.
Their mindset is still the same.
That's what they know, and that's why I don't want to be political, but I always say nobody over 45 should be president, because you're not even gonna understand.
Yeah.
Computers internet was around for the homes. Let's say 2004. Before then, we're using the disc. The dial-up, be tying up the home phone and stuff like that. If internet came about for the homes in, let's say, 2005, it's not even 20 years yet. The guy who's 65, 75 can navigate. He doesn't understand.
Yeah.
I feel like he doesn't understand. Because for me, right now, this country, the youth is the wealth, the resource, the human resource right now is our wealth.
Yeah.
But they're not investing in it,
But to piggyback off, to go back to something that Mutombo was touching on, because mentorship predates computer.
Yeah.
In every culture that I've studied, closely, it seems as though the older generation are excited to mentor the young ones, which is holding your hand through something. Like you, for instance, right now, you have a wealth of experience and knowledge. You have a wealth of experience and knowledge in photography, blah, blah, blah. For somebody to come, Mutombo is the guy to go and see. I want to follow him around. I see you doing it because you have people around you.
Yeah.
Maybe our generation is different. But I just can't, for the life of me, understand why the older generation and our people collectively don't see strength in numbers. We have proverbs in our local languages
that address those.
The prior. And so it's not like it's some foreign. They brainwashed us and we've forgotten about those things. But
it's
somehow
it's
crazy.
It's crazy.
Man.
It's actually crazy.
For me, I always say I wish I had somebody before me that was giving me guidance in the worlds that I wanted to navigate. You know, I have somebody now who kind of does that for me. I text him, I call him, I question him about things, and because he knows, he's older than me.
Is he Ghanaian?
He's Ghanaian.
Okay.
Is it me?
It's definitely not you, but nah, his name is Stan. Stanley Lumax.
Shout out to Stan.
Shout out to Stan, man. He's somebody that Stanley Lumax.
Where does he live?
He lives in he's in Brooklyn.
Did he ever live in Maryland?
I don't think he's from Jersey. And,
I know another Stanley who's a gangster, but I can't remember his
oh,
last
no,
name.
Stan is not a gangster. He's he's not gonna let you walk over him though. But he's not a gangster. Yeah.
No, this guy's also like not a street dude. He's a OG. That's what I meant. Like he's hard guy.
Yeah,
He knows what's up.
Stan, he helps me navigate certain things. Like sometimes they say me, I can be a bit too aggressive. So sometimes I check him how to deal with these corporate people. Like such and such happened. Like I want to do this. What do you think? He said, no, don't say that. That's crazy.
Dial it down a little bit.
You tell me to check it. But I always we talk about mentorship and stuff. It's I want to go back to the mentorship in the kitchen, right? In the kitchens of America, it's very white. It's very rare to find somebody in my color, my background, in the role that I've been in. It's and I don't know how I'm even the exception sometimes, because sometimes I could be in a whole company and I'm the only black person in charge, right? So now I'm kind of directed to deal with the black affairs, which means the black employees.
Yeah.
If they find them, standing up for themselves, they say they're troublesome. So I have to kind of navigate the conversation. They're not being troublesome. They just want to be understood, and I have to navigate those conversations to make sure that our people don't lose their jobs, and for them not to overreact and be oh, such and such, and just get rid of a hardworking person, So I try to mentor people that come into space. For me, if I work in the kitchen, you're black, and you work hard, I'm naturally gravitated towards you.
That's naturally supposed to be.
To see what you need, how I can help you get better, what your goals are, what you want to do. Because most of the time I'm in the position to help you.
Yeah.
So I'm always going to help.
That's dope.
Because I always wish there was somebody. When I went into my first proper kitchen, there was it was white and it was also Spanish people.
Right.
And they just...
You stick out like a sore thumb.
Hell yeah. And the guy next to me is telling me that I won't be there in a month because I'm going to fail.
Wow.
But he doesn't know I'm from the Bronx, where I understand Spanish. I wasn't speaking to them, but I understood it. So I was like, all right, watch. But by the time I leave, they're calling me chef. And they hated it. They hated that I had to call me chef, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You got to call. I tell you something, you got to say yes, chef.
Oh, that's part of the...
Yeah, if I say something, you got to say yes, chef. Heard you, chef. You have to say it so I know you understood what I said. And it's so hard for me, but he has to say it so I know he heard me. And I can walk away, and you can tell that it's killing him, So, that was something that I kind of took pride in it.
That's dope, man. That's dope.
If it comes to chef or chefing, like I want to call it, what's your specialty?
Oh, for me, my favorite type of cuisine, other than West African or Ghanaian to say, is Thai and Caribbean. Because the flavors are just incredible, and it's very similar to what we know. We use ginger, they use ginger, we use garlic, we use a bunch of earthy spices or cayenne pepper, bird's eye chili. We use those things and they use those things as well. So I love cooking with those because the flavors are very bold and they're delicious.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm naturally.
Yeah. So I'm saying there is a similarity. There are similarities between the Ghanaian dishes and Thai and
not the dishes per se, but I would say flavor profiles.
Okay.
The flavor profiles are there. We have Nkatinkwai, right?
Yeah.
But if you make Nkatinkwai with some ginger in it and some peppers in it and stuff like that, and you eat it, and you go to the Thai place, you order chicken satay, and it comes to the peanuts and you eat it. You would think you're eating, Nkatinkwai with. Yeah. The flavor is the same, So
there's a place in Laboni actually.
Yeah.
Not bad Thai food.
Yeah.
But anyway, I want to. But this one be you too.
Well,
You hype me, say Wale is coming. We're gonna have some meals and we go cook some cho. You swerve me. You bet up the cho. But I had some of the curry today. It was dope.
You did.
Dope.
Yeah,
Appreciate
it. I think I had to make that curry. I was gonna die because the way this guy was I
mean,
he was fasting.
You haven't even cooked much since you have been here. I was expecting a meal a day. What do you think about Ghanaian dishes? So, for example, people are saying that there are too many carbs in our dishes. Dishes are like oil based, and all that. What do you think about our local dishes, and if there are issues, what can be made to make it better?
For me, I think like our dishes are. I don't see anything wrong with our dishes. One, maybe the portioning, because
Yeah.
when the size of plates we eat, it's like heavy.
Yeah.
You can eat a mutuo maybe this size with soup and you'll be fine, or you
Yeah.
can eat a mutuo this size with soup and they'll say it's too much. So I don't really understand what is this. I mean, we cook with what we have.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what's natural to our land. That's what we have. So that's what we're gonna eat. Nature doesn't play tricks. It gives you what you need where you are, and that's what we have. Our people do a lot of hard labor jobs. So you eat starchy foods and you burn it off. We have all the starchy, but we still don't see too many obese people around.
Yeah.
Because everybody is moving, working, and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's what we need, and that's what we have. In the West, they don't eat starchy food, but they eat processed food, and there's so much obesity, all around. So me, I don't buy that thing about how too much oil. It's all in proportion, You eat what you need, and then that's just that.
Mutombo had a question for Mukasi Chick when she came there. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, you should ask him.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the same question, but I was going to ask that. So when we had Mukasi Chick in season 1, I asked her that our Ghanaian dishes haven't been, revolutionized or evolved much. Like you are based like these Spanish, dishes. You have, for lack of a better example, like
Tacos, burritos.
and so many kinds, so many different kinds.
Yeah.
But for us, if it's fufu, we are pounding fufu, and it goes with soup. If it's yam, we are eating it with stew and all that. Like you won't find like yam. It's either fried or cooked.
So you're talking about like innovative stuff.
Yeah, innovative ways when it comes to.
There are. I would completely disagree because there are chefs who are flipping West African dishes and Ghanaian.
Like from what to what?
Oh, like you talk. Somebody made a wache burrito, right? I've even seen wache sushi before.
Hey.
Yeah, like
You remember when we went to the Wache Fest or whatever?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
There was the Wache stand of burrito. It was empty as hell. Nobody was
there
there.
was no one going there.
Yeah.
no, but like I've heard about wache burrito and I hear it's fucking dope. Like
So everything will be inside.
yeah, and it's
pepper and
Yeah,
stew
plantain
and
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 and I've seen wache sushi before.
Wow.
There's a guy who does I think he's Ghanaian and he does like Afro tacos, and he just
but that's for cream. That's for like some class of people. It's not in our homes.
yeah. But I mean, if you go to other cultures, they're not at home eating flipped versions of their food. They eat the traditional stuff.
Traditional.
So
Okay.
we should embrace it. My thing is like maybe the presentation of it to make it look familiar. I don't want to use the word appealing, so I'm going to use familiar.
Right.
Familiar to the person who's not from here. Because rice, everybody eats rice,
Yeah.
right? And if I make a bowl of rice and I just put things anyhow, it has to look appetizing to you.
Yeah.
For you to you have to recognize to want to eat it.
Yeah.
Some people, for so long, people laugh at African food, and then when they eat it, they can't stop eating it.
Yeah.
And it's all in the presentation of it. So that's my part. Like that's one part of why I wanted to be a chef to kind of bring our food up. And every time I make food or I get to like showcase our food, I always go the extra mile to make sure it looks pretty, it looks presentable, and like I have a standard. Because the places I've worked at, if I didn't apply the same standard to my own cooking and stuff, then what is the point of it?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's I don't think we haven't been innovative
Innovative.
because there are people who are doing it on a different level, you know, and there's some people based here that are doing it, and there's some people based outside too who are using their experiences from like different cuisines and cultures, and they flipping it to present our stuff that way.
Yeah.
So
I have so many questions on food for you because you know I like to cook.
Yeah.
But aside restaurants, have you done some, home, services like these kind
Like private
for,
dinners and stuff?
Yeah, private dinners for celebrities
Oh,
and
yeah.
And do you do that?
Yeah, I do that. I mean,
How often?
I've done whenever it comes around. Really, like I've done quite a few. I think the last one I did was for DJ Clark Kent.
Oh, that's my guy, man.
Yeah, his 25th wedding anniversary. Yeah,
Wow.
we catered it. We did. I did this guy Jared Udrich. He's an NFL player. He's American. He was planning to come to Ghana, and the pandemic hit. He wanted to bring his mom.
Oh, wow.
So he found out that I made Ghanaian food, and he asked, me and my boy, we did the food for him to bring Ghana to his mom. And
Why was he
because-
trying to come to Ghana?
I mean, he's half black, half white, so they
Okay.
wanted to connect with their African roots or whatever.
Okay.
You know, so we brought Ghana to them in their house, and
Oh,
they
nice.
were happy because they couldn't go anywhere. You know, it was during the lockdown, and during the lockdown, a lot of people had private dinners.
Yeah.
A lot. We went to a lot of homes, man.
Did you make so much money during lockdown?
Yeah, I think I was busy. My company. I have a catering company. My catering company was the busiest during lockdown. Like
Yeah.
that was
Can
the
imagine.
yeah. It was busy. Like we locked down. They locked down the city March 13th. Like March 29th or so. Stan called me and said, "Yo, these people want to do like a cyber dinner." I'm like, cyber dinner? What is cyber dinner? All right, here's the deal. First, I only had 24-hour notice. So, okay, you make the food, you deliver it to these addresses, and at 8 p.m., they all get on Zoom and eat together.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Wow.
Yeah.
all right, cool. How many people? 25 addresses all around New York City. It's not like in Brooklyn, though.
Yeah.
Every borough.
Wow.
So yeah, me and my boy, I made all the food. My boy, I stayed up all night making the food. My boy Jasani, you know him.
Yeah, Jasani. Shout out to Jasani.
Shout out to Jasani. He brought the car, and we set off. We delivered the last plate like at 7:45.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I got on Zoom on my phone, and I just watched them eat, and it was like the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
You know,
I was gonna ask, how do you feel when you see someone like Fred, enjoying something you made? How is the feeling like?
It makes it all worth it, because that's the whole point. That's the whole point of me making the food look beautiful, making it tasty, so you would enjoy it to the fullest. And when I see that a person is satisfied, then it makes it all work. And I think I got that from my first kitchen that I worked in. It was an open kitchen, so I could see. I could see who was eating
The food.
Yeah, if I made a salad and they brought it to you, I watch you eat it and
The reaction.
and it just made it all work. And sometimes they will look at you and they'll be like, and you even forget that your chef was yelling at you 5 minutes prior. It makes it all worth it. So
what was the biggest tip that you have ever received from like making a dope dish for someone?
So we went to this house. We did a dinner for them. So during the pandemic, I was working with my boy Hawaii, and we're doing like THC infused dinners.
Shouts to Hawaii.
Yeah, shouts to Hawaii, man. So we're doing THC infused dinners, and so he's the mix master. I'll make the food, he'll dose it. That's his thing. So we went to this house, and they were like, they wanted steaks, but it was like 15 people, and they all wanted different temperatures. Somebody wanted medium, this and that, and I had to navigate which pan is the medium's gonna be in it. So I did it, and then this one guy, he's like, "This is the most perfect medium steak that I've ever had." Literally went into his pocket and just pulled out, I think $300 or whatever. He said, "Here."
Wow.
And I was like, and Hawaii's like, "All right, yeah." And I was like, "All right, cool." So that was like I can remember, but I mean, I've gotten tips, from here and there, but usually I don't look for it.
You don't look for it.
I
Yeah.
don't look for it.
Yeah. So now you are an executive chef.
Well, I was an executive chef, but now because I want, like again, because I want to spend time with my family, right? And my boys, they're growing. Elijah's gonna be 10. Noah just turned 6. Jonah's gonna be 2, and they starting to like want me around. And that's very important to me. So I had to take a different position, but still be involved in the kitchen. So now I'm a purchaser, which is like I manage the budgets of the kitchen. I tell the chef how much he can buy. So we don't go over a food cost. So I'm still involved in the kitchen, but I'm not like per se like cooking or involved in the cooking side. I'm more on the financial side of managing the book side, which is very good for me because for so long I was on the food side, and I feel like for me to be a very well-rounded person in the industry, I need to learn that side as well. So I'm actually grateful. I get to go to work at 8, come out at 5, be home by 6:30. My kids are home. I help them with homework, dinner. Get to spend time with my wife. Everybody's happy. I'm not tired. And like.
So is this are you okay with this role? How long are you going to hold on to this role?
For now, I'm okay with it. I'm a person that's always moving. So yeah, I became I'm a purchasing manager. I'm ambitious. I'm like I want to be a corporate purchaser. Because like for me, if you're going to do it, you got to go to the max. Everything you're gonna do, if you're gonna buy a shoe, buy the best. If you're gonna eat food, make sure you eat the best. Whatever you're gonna do, you got to do the best. So if I decide to stick in this role, I'm gonna try to go as far as corporate purchaser, and so I can also mentor other people and do stuff. But if something else comes along that's more interesting, because I never wanted to open a restaurant, but now it's something that I think about more and more. And with the right investors and partners, I'll do it.
I was getting ready to ask you that we talked a bit about you possibly considering Ghana as a place, and you spoke about the difficulty in making that decision. Mutombo was asking you about your next phase if you consider it. So combining those two things, I guess the question would be, what opportunity would you see here in Ghana that would make sense for you to have that conversation with the family?
For me, like, if I was to come here, it would be definitely to work. What would bring me here would be what would bring me here would be an opportunity to, like, do what I love still, right, here, and make sense financially. Yeah. Because it wouldn't make sense for me to make Ghana cedis when my bills are in dollars. Right. You understand? So it has to make sense financially. And so far, I've been presented with opportunities, but I haven't got one that makes sense yet. So I feel like for me, I would have to create my own, I'll have to create my own opportunity and make it make sense for me. So when the time comes, something that is, on my brain constantly, it's always there, but I don't dwell on it or whatever, but it's there. I would have to come and do it myself so I can pay myself, because the whatever I need to, I feel like I need to be okay. I don't think anybody can give me that right now. Yeah.
Is that why you mentioned possible partnership and investor will be the...
Yeah, the right partnership and investor will make it make sense.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So they say food brings people together.
It's true. 100.
Really.
They
also say that before you eat the food, you
eat with your eyes. That's also true. 100%. I believe in eating with all your senses.
Okay.
All your senses. It makes it better.
Really?
Like, if I bring you a plate of food...
So I'm saying blind people don't enjoy the food they eat?
But blind people have enhanced sensitivity in other areas, So...
But they don't see the food.
Yeah, but it's not like they choosing not to, It's unfortunate that they have that affliction that they can't see. And so other senses are heightened. You know, they
Yeah,
might they might be able to eat it and hear the texture of the food. Because you know, like for me, when you like me saying you have to eat with all your senses, basically you have to see the food, you have to smell the food, you have to taste the food, and you have to like feel the textures of the food in your mouth as well when you eat it. And for me, that's a part of a complete experience, you know. So I believe, yeah, like if I'm going to go somewhere and buy a meal and sit down and enjoy, I want the full experience. I want you to give me that because, I mean, people go out to eat for an experience. They don't go out to eat like they eat in the living room, you know.
Right.
So you have to make sure that you create these things for them to come along with the ambience of the space and all of that.
yeah.
So it is true. People eat with your eyes, and yeah, it's definitely something that I practice.
Anthony Bourdain.
My guy.
Yeah, may he rest in peace. But before he passed, he was having he had a show on street food.
Yes.
Yeah, he was going from place to place and documenting, showing, filming, and all that.
Yes.
What's your take on street food? Would you choose a restaurant over street food or street food?
Street food.
Really? Why?
For me, yeah, like wherever I go, if I travel, I feel like if you travel and you don't go into the people, you haven't gone there.
Yeah.
You know, like I can't come to Ghana and I have no problems against like Kozo or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna come to Ghana and go sit at Kozo or wherever because I'm coming from America where it's whatever Kozo is offering. It's in America as well.
It's a super equivalent over there.
Exactly. When I come, as you know, I'm looking for wache. I'm a wache warrior. You know, I can eat wache every day.
Really?
Tombo knows that he.
Yeah, Tombo is a watchy guy too, isn't he?
Yeah, you know, Tombo is, you know,
there are days I think he's a super watchy guy, and then he
yeah.
kind of checks out.
He's fair weather watching guy, but you know,
You're a big watchy guy.
yeah, me,
Yeah.
I look for the local dishes, you know, because that's what I'm not. It's not easily accessible to me,
Right.
and you know that like also it's I feel like the best foods are the street foods because they don't try to do too much to change it. They give you as it's supposed to be given, you know, and so you get to experience the place, the culture of the place, and how they actually eat the food and live. So for me, I always say street food.
I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
Since you guys talked about sensing all the food, I've been having this problem since COVID. I don't know if any research has been done on it, but I lost my sense of smell and taste when I got COVID. And I feel like I'm still struggling to get my full senses back. Like I can taste, but if I get like the least, twitch in, I'm not feeling well or I'm getting a small cold.
You lose it.
I lose it. I can't smell properly. I can't.
I think you should eat raw pepper.
Okay.
And
Which one?
Ginger, like the red ones.
I've been doing the ginger thing, but the pepper I haven't tried.
Sorry, I mean ginger, more ginger.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay.
I would say this though, like or maybe try drinking some bitters before you eat, you know, to see what it's like. So
Some hot bitters.
no, like I don't hot whatever, but I wouldn't drink hot bitters before. I just drink cold bitters, like drink it, take a shot of it, and see if something changes. Because I had COVID as well, and I lost my sense of smell. And it's funny, I was doing a cooking class, and I realized that I lost my sense of smell and taste. I was doing it on IG, so I'm making palm oil, with onion. I'm doing red, and I can't smell the fragrance, and I'm like. But I'm in the middle of class, and I'm like, it smells really nice here, but I can't really smell anything.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, damn, I have COVID. I really have COVID,
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like you, every now and then, I feel like I can't taste or smell, but it's not so bad,
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes I ask myself, is it memory, muscle memory, or like psychological or whatever? Because I'm so used to the vivid, like, you mentioned it in Katinkwai, peanut butter soup.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites, bro. I
Charlie.
can taste
Say it.
all the
Yeah.
insides of it.
Yeah.
But that was the soup that let me know I had COVID.
Charlie.
Yeah.
You're like, damn.
I went into the kitchen. My mom had a pot that was there. I took it, like all my best parts. And, you know, normally when something's your favorite, I'm walking back to my
You're
living
eating
room
as
or
you
whatever,
walk in.
and I was going to took a spoonful. I'm like, what they call it? Like, this is, and my sister had it. So it's right then I was like, damn, it got me too.
Yeah.
And I couldn't smell. I started smelling. And so it's been living with me for a while now. But I'm trying to find a solution to it because I love my food. I don't eat a whole lot now, but when we are done with this, I'm going to, and I want to be able to sit down and enjoy. I'm not really experiencing that anymore.
But Wale, some tips for me personally. So I sent a tweet a couple of weeks back asking people how not to cry or how not to tear up when cutting onions. Do you have tips?
So I learned this thing in culinary school, that the way you cut the onion, there's a cellular structure in the onion, right? And if you cut it wrong, you break the structure and it releases, right? This thing in the air, in the atmosphere that makes you cry. So, me personally, actually, when I was cooking the other day, I started cutting the onions. I'm like, man, this is crazy in here. Like I haven't teared from onions in like years, but then it was also a small onion, and I might have cut it wrong because of how it was, So me, I suggest cutting the ends, and then cut it in half, peeling it, and then cut it from the sides like this. When I do that, it doesn't, because there's these lines on the onions. So maybe if you follow it, for me, it doesn't make me tear when I do that. But when I go the other way is when it makes me tear. And I went the other way the other night because of how the onion was shaped. So try that next time.
Yeah, cool. So with our local dishes, when I say local, our Ghanaian dishes, right? I think with our sauces and soups, they all follow one, the method.
Which is what?
Like if it's stew, oil go inside. You chop the onions, you chop the pepper, you mix it, you wait for a while. If it's about to cook, if it's about to get ready, you add your whether fish or me. I'm a fish guy, so I use fish, mostly. So I put the fish in, then the spices go in first, then the fish, right?
Yeah.
Am I doing it right, or is there a sane and dope way to make, for example, tomato stew?
I mean, like the reason why they do it like that is because they build flavors, right?
Okay.
So it's like anything. Okay, even in music, maybe the drums will drop first, and the trumpets will follow, and the bass guitar, whatever, right? If you put all of them at once, it's chaotic. It's not harmonious, right? Same thing. If you were to like put onions, garlic, tomatoes, everything at once, there will be no flavor really. Right? So the whole point of doing that is building flavor. So you put the onions, you put the garlic, if there's ginger, you put your spices, dry spices, you put it in the oil with the onions and stuff to bloom it, because that's when it releases the flavor, right? You bloom it. And then you put the tomato paste with it, you cook that.
So spice before tomato paste?
Yeah, because you have to open up the spice.
Okay.
The flavor, you have to open it up, and that's how you open it up. It's called blooming, right? You have to open it up to get the full flavor. So you do that, and then you do the tomato paste, and you get the tomato paste to cook, because you got to cook out the acid from tomatoes out of it. And then you can add in your maybe raw tomatoes that you pureed or whatever. You add that in, and then you let it cook down for the water in the raw tomatoes to evaporate. And then when it starts like looking like the oil and the tomatoes are kind of separated, then you know it's cooking. And then, I mean, if you doing it with fish that's already prepared, you're gonna throw it in, and you throw it in, whatever.
Dope. But will the taste be affected if I decide to go the other way around?
It
Maybe
could.
maybe instead of the onions going in first, I might add the tomato paste first before the onions come in last. Like,
But if you put the onions last, right, it might not cook to how it's supposed to cook
It's
for
supposed
it
to.
to be.
yeah,
You know, because onions, you cook it, you caramelize it, and becomes sweet, right? But then the flavors are there, the aroma is there, you know, but it's not as bitter because you know you eat raw onions. Sometimes some of them can be bitter. It has a bitter aftertaste. But then you cook it out, it becomes sweet. You caramelize it, so you might not get the same effect from doing the and maybe you might not even get the flavors from
Yeah.
it. It'll be there and it'll be flavorless.
yeah,
You know, so there's reasons why they do, and it's not just our cooking. All across the world, people cook like that. I used to work in a Thai restaurant, and I've made thousands of plates of fried rice working at the workstation. And you go in, you build the flavors. Everything that you do, you build flavors. French cooking, you build flavors. You know, Italian cooking, you build flavors. Everything is about building the flavor, you know?
yeah.
So
I have a question about this cooking thing. I've always known our parents' traditional cultural cooking to include blended tomatoes and tinned tomatoes
yeah.
or tomato paste.
Yeah.
What's the difference and why are we using them together?
So I think the tomato paste is to thicken, you know, and because if you
And also color it to
and
give
then
color.
for a much deeper color, but that's because tomato paste is actually that red because there's beets in it. You know, the beets.
Oh, like beetroot?
the beetroots. There's
Okay.
beetroots, and that's what gives the actual red color. So if you can make your own tomato paste, you know, and you know you can make it. For me, it serves as a thickener because if you were to just do just tomatoes, it would probably not be as thick as you know you
I
want
had
it
no
to be.
clue that there was beets in tomato
Yeah,
paste.
there is beets in tomato paste.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's beets in a lot of things that are red because people use it for the color of it, you know.
Okay.
So yeah, me myself, I just realized that because I was watching some videos and this lady was making her own tomato paste, and there was beets in it. And I was like, oh, because I always wondered like why is it why is it so red? And,
Yeah.
but yeah, so they
Dope.
blend it with the beets and
And last question from me about cooking. Being a chef,
yeah.
do you get like ever tired of when you get home, you're expected to be the one to whip up something for the family or like your kids expect you to do something creative for them all the time? Or?
My kids don't even care. You know, these guys, I can make them gourmet food and they want. I want chicken nuggets. That I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, I just made this, you know, like you know. But my older son, that guy, I think he's gonna be a food critic
Okay.
because he'll take his time, he tastes like the rice is buttery, this and that. Because he watches a lot of cooking shows with me.
Okay.
The middle one's starting to watch cooking shows with me. So the older one, he would describe the food and, you know, it's balanced here and there. And, you know, he would talk about the food. So he lets me, he makes sure to let me know that I'm appreciated. I think that guy, he's something else, man. Like, he always try to make sure that I know that they appreciate, you know, in his own little way. Yeah.
Yeah. So who is always in the kitchen
But-
doing the cooking? Is it you or your wife?
No. So to answer his question about the expectations, right? Like, when I met my wife, she wasn't a cook.
Okay.
But now my wife can cook,
Okay.
you know. So we kind of have shared, like, you cook this night and I cook the next night. You know, we have that because she comes home with work from school, from her job as well. And so some nights she wants to work. So I do the dinner and, you know. So I'm not always expected, but sometimes I'm expected, you know. It's like, oh, these people want to come over.
Yeah, that's a
You're
big
cooking.
deal.
You know, it's like, you know, like.
You gotta represent the family, man.
You know, there's that. So that's when I'm expected to cook. And as soon as I hear that we're going to have some company, I already know the drill. You know, so I'm already planning what I'm going to cook and stuff like that. Yeah, so.
Dope. So enough for cooking, and thanks for the tips. So you working with you know musicians through and through in New York, especially the ASAP mob. it means you are in tune with the sound too.
Yeah, you know, like I mean, like in this moment, not as much as before.
Yeah.
You know, because before that was what was around me. That was what drove my photography.
Yeah.
Really, you know. Now it's kind of hard to keep
Tabs
to
on-
keep
on-
tabs on, you know, because like it's like somebody described it before. It's like microwave. You know, it's fast. Today this, today that. The transition, but I've always had a good ear for who I think can be the next, or who's got something. You know, even in Ghana here, I always tell him like, yo, I heard about this guy. Yo, you guys need to support this guy. He like, you know, and then he'll come and say you were right or whatever. You know, like I feel like if there was one job where I could do, and somebody else will take care of all my bills, and I didn't have to do work for money, I'd be an A&R.
A&R, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd be an A&R.
So
But-
right now in Ghana, who is the next big thing for you?
I mean, for me, I was big on the Asaka boys early, you know, like before all this stuff, because like I heard them and I was like, man, these guys got something, you know. So I was supporting them. Right now, I mean, I was big on Black Sharif too before
He blew up.
he blew up now. So right now, I haven't heard anybody, you know. I haven't really tuned into what's going on here and who's, you know. So if you got anybody, you can share me and I'll check them out. Oh, I did hear this one guy, Kojo Trip.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I heard him, and I thought he was dope. You know, I would have liked to work with him on something, but it was just not the right time. You know.
So now, if you are working with someone like Kojo Trip, in what capacity would you work, you know, with them?
I probably would be his manager, you know, because I can kind of give him some sort of direction or whatever. But you know, I don't want to talk about Kojo Trip's situation because, like, you know, we never got to do what I intended for us to do, and it was just wrong timing, you know. But shout outs to him still. But if to work with anybody, it would be like maybe management because I can help in so many ways. I can help in using like relationships that I have,
Right.
you know, leverage them to get them some sort of like
Visibility.
visibility,
access.
opportunities, access, you know,
Okay.
stuff like that, you know. So yeah, but right now it's not even the time for me to want to even get into that, you know, because I'm working on some personal stuff right now, like a cookbook and stuff like that, and I need to have all my time for me, you know,
right.
my extra time for me and family. So,
Cool.
yeah.
So what are you going to do? Do you have plans for all the photos that you have accumulated over the years? Or they are just going to be on your drive?
No, I have them. I know you've been telling me for years to do a photo exhibition, you know, like here in Ghana, you know.
Yeah, because I think you have so much material.
Yeah, I mean, I could do it, but like, it's not my focus right now, you know. And maybe one day when I come down and it's the right investor and partner and I open the rest, and maybe I'll print them large format and have them on the walls, you know, of artists that I shot myself, you know. So it'll be like, you know,
It'd be dope
the
though.
vibe, yeah.
Maybe you own the rights to it.
I own the
right?
rights.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
them,
It would be nice to do a lookbook.
Yeah, lookbook is nice as well. you know.
Yeah, because I would like to have something like that on my coffee table, man. Like culturally
True.
to see it maybe until you open the restaurant. You can use it in multiple like
yeah,
versions.
I've thought about it. I've thought about like doing like a lookbook or like even a mini lookbook to give away as Christmas presents to friends.
Why don't we collaborate? Like one book where I bring photos from shows and events from Ghana, and you two bring, you know, then we compare and contrast.
Oh, I'm down with it.
You know,
That would be dope.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
I'll be supportive of that.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
really
down with it. If you can spearhead that project, I will.
That's the shit. The time is the issue.
Yeah, if you can spearhead it, I would definitely say.
But actually, no, seriously, Tombo, That's a dope
Yeah,
idea.
it is. It
Like
is.
you have the book where I'm thinking in my head, like it doesn't mean that has to be this way, but one page is here, you see
Yeah,
New
and-
York, and one you see in
Yeah,
Accra,
yeah,
and you're seeing
yeah.
the culture clash, but it's the
Yeah,
same.
it's
Let's
same,
say
yeah.
the similarities in their pose on stage. Maybe you have a photo of A$AP Rocky pose like this, and I have a picture of Black Sharif the same way. It's like
Yeah,
yeah.
with text and all that. I think it'll be
That would be dope, man.
I mean,
it'll be dope.
Yeah.
So last question. Yeah.
Yeah.
So last question. Also on the ASAP mob,
Before you ask the last question, what do
Yeah.
you think of ASAP and Rihanna? I feel like it's a cheat code, but I don't know what you think.
oh, I mean, it's something that I personally predicted long ago.
Okay.
Because I mean, I saw once how they interacted. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
these guys need to be together.
Wow.
And even, I don't think it's news to certain, but I saw something. I was like, these guys need to be together.
Dope.
Yeah. The mob lost this guy,
Rest in peace to ASAP Yams.
ASAP Yams.
Yes.
How close were you with ASAP Yams, and how did his death change you?
I mean, Yams was like the guy. He was like the glue. He was like the spirit of ASAP Mob, right? I wouldn't say like me and Yams is like super tight, but Yams is like the guy that if he met you today and he saw you next week, he remembers you. He remembers where he met you, and he remembers what conversations you guys had. And I think most of the ASAP Mob is like that too. Rocky's like that too. Like if he meet you here and he sees you there, like he will know your face. He might not remember your name, but he knows that he knows you.
Yeah.
It's they're like that. Yams passing was I got like goosebumps right now talking like Yams passing was like shocker, man. Like it was crazy. Like for some reason I woke up extra early that Sunday morning. I don't know why. Maybe somebody might have texted me. I don't know. And I went on, like, somebody sent me a picture of Rocky sitting in the hospital with his face in his palm. And I'm like, what happened? And, so I called the next person that I knew that could give me the information, Daryl. I'm like, yo, Daryl, what happened? He said, Yams just passed away. And I was like, fuck. All right. And I was in shock. It took a while. I think people who knew that I was around them was like texting me, asking me stuff. But I was like, for me, it was like, damn, like what we go, like like Yams going, what we gonna do now? Like, not like what am I gonna do? Because I know what I'm gonna do. But like he's the spirit of the mob. Like, what is the mob gonna do? Because I was so proud of what the mob was doing, and I used to compare them to like Wu-Tang or like NWA.
Yeah.
I was so proud of what they were doing, but I didn't think they were strong enough to like withstand the loss of Yams, and truly, there's no more ASAP Mob, because everybody, they just couldn't withstand it, but it was an expensive loss.
Did you ever photograph him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So-
Yams, every time the camera was on, he'd come and
Yeah.
he'd do his talk. He's be a bit of a fly talker, so
Yeah.
he come and he
Dope.
talk.
So you have to send us some of your photos, not just Yams, maybe 10 photos from you, so we post, so we share on our Instagram.
That would be dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to do
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Because like Tombo has always been trying to trick me for stuff. So I think this is one of the tricks. Like that's why I'm looking at Fred like, yo, Fred, like, do you really want? Yeah, I'm like,
I
wait.
would love to see them though.
Yeah, I
Like,
would definitely
those
show.
That's an experience that the way you were up in the thick of things most people will not get to see, and I feel like there's so much value
Yeah,
there, especially because you have like value.
yeah, definitely. But
I think you sent me some photos of when someone died or something, and you sent me. Oh, it was a live. What was this? Live set.
oh, this was Kendrick. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. Oh, this quite recently.
You're talking about DMX.
Yeah.
So
you sent
DMX
me.
is one of my favorite rappers of all time.
Oh, so you photographed
Really?
DMX, yeah.
yeah, like so I got to photograph DMX.
One of the first rap albums I ever bought.
Me too,
It's
mine
Dark
too.
and Hell is Hot.
It's Dark and Hell is Hot. That and Confessions of Fire.
Okay.
And that is why Cameron, he's not the best, but he's still one of my favorite rappers because, man, 357 Magnet.
Confessions of Fire was a dope album. I mean, for the era in which he came, he kind of flipped his style after that, though.
Yeah, he did. He did. He came hard, Killer Cam, and then he just kind of softened to
Was
Cam.
it Cam that did Horse and Carriage?
Yeah.
Horse and Carriage.
And Maze.
Yeah, but the same Cam also did Pull It with DMX.
Yeah.
So that's like two. Yeah.
Two different.
Charlie. Dope. Wale, aka MightyBeardo, we thank you for granting us audience on the pod. It's been an amazing conversation.
Thank you guys for having me, man. This is a really dope podcast, man.
And we'll be looking forward to those photos to post on our
You already
Instagram.
know it.
Charlie,
I don't even know if it's if it's serious or
he's
you're
a
just trying to.
slickster,
no,
I
seriously.
know.
Yes.
but Charlie, we thank you for supporting the podcast through and through. Still share, still leave a review, still support in your own small way. Fred.
Yes, sir.
We through.
Dope.
That was dope. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.